good. You don't want that, right? You got to get the haircut action. Hey, everyone, welcome to Suit It Up. Let me get some poppy tunes going. How about that? That looks good. 80s tunes. Name's Chris Casper. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time here, this is your weekly interview, late night style, talking action Jackson adjectives show where you see how many times my voice cracks and how many bad puns I'll make. Today on the show, we have a star-studded lineup of fantastic hair out of place. We have Gabby coming up first. She's going to talk to us a little bit about her new show featured on the app, as well as some of the history of herself and the things that she's gone through that led her to want to conduct having a show like she has. Our second guest is Nate. And Nate is an interesting fellow. That's two cracks. Two voice cracks. Nate's an interesting fellow. He has a profession that you might want to watch out for. You could get suplexed. And I might be spoiler alerting here a little bit. A little spoiler alert. All right. And our third guest, her name's Melly. Her name's Melly. She goes by a different name on the app, which I just now remembered because she's going to request the box and go, where's Melly? Where's Melly? We're going to talk a little bit about something interesting that she has done, something that I had always wanted to do. She's achieved something in her life already that I've dreamed of doing in my life. I know that many of you probably have shared the same dream of what she's achieved. So make sure you tune in and stay to the end for that. We've got trivia tonight, everyone. We've got emotional feels. We've got voice cracking action and hair puffery. It's Suited Up, everybody. And this is where the intro movie happens. Wow, that was a great intro. Super cool. Happy we had that intro. All right, at this time, if this is your first time here during these conversations, I don't do a very good job of acknowledging the comments. I'm the worst kind of streamer. I'm a non-attentive one. That's because these shows are curated. We plan these conversations just like we fix our hair. Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest of the evening. She has her very own featured show on the app that premiered this week. She's not 1 times the awesome, 2 times the awesome. She's Gabby 3.0.
Hi.
Gabby 3.0 in the building. How you doing, Gabby?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited for the show tonight. I feel like I've been a little absent. How about yourself? Are you feeling in the zone?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm no hands. That's how ready I am.
Waka flocka flame, no hands, right? All right. So Gabby, you have been a presence on the app for quite some time. Many could say you've had a photo-worthy finish. I tried to get the pun. That's bad pun 1. You've had a photo finish worthy style journey so far. I'm interested though. Let's just cut to the chase. What kept you motivated to start not once, start not twice, but go about this 3 times?
Yeah. Well, you would think a lot of people would probably give up after like the second time, but I mean, just plain and simple, I love this app and I have some really awesome friends on here, and this is just where I like to spend my time. So even if I have to start back at 0, it's worth it to me.
Yeah, it's a challenge that unfortunately sometimes comes up, specifically to community. What has it been about the community that has made you feel like it was worth having to start over so many times?
Well, I started on this app. You wouldn't know, but I started about 2 years ago on here, like around August of 2018. And the app is way different from back then. I mean, I really didn't know what I was getting into when I went live. As time went on, especially last year on this time, I was going through like a really, really tough time. And I started to make some connections that I've actually have friends from over a year ago now. We still chat every day. And even more so, which I'm like really glad that you brought this to the app, but the show, like creator community on here is just crazy. And it was an even bigger motivator than I had before to try to create a show on here. And I honestly, like, shout out to Blake Premier, because I probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for him. like pushing me and saying like, hey, like you can do this. Cause I had thought about it for a while, like, you know, creating a show on here, and I was kind of not so confident about it. And he was like, just do it. You got this. So here we are.
I guess that's how we'll start this conversation. Quickly, can you give everyone the context? What is the show that you're referencing right now?
So I have a show on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. Sammy J is right there. She is glowing. She's a mental health counselor, and together we talk about coping with emotional, social, and psychological well-being to promote self-healing. So we have a new topic every week that we dig into. We provide you guys with education and tips and resources that you can apply in your everyday life. And we also have an interview portion kind of like this, where we talk to some of your favorite streamers about their experiences.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you bring that up and talk about Blake motivating you to do the show, because I hear, against all odds, there was a certain video content director that said no, he would not feature a show about mental health because of the liability. That there were too many red lines and too many words that had to be phrased particular ways. And you went out and you proved that guy wrong. How did you do it?
Using the resources I had, discovering new people, and the way that I met some people on here was like not exactly through live streams. I was like invited to a meeting actually, and that's how I met Blake. And wow, can I just tell you, Chris, I've been having one heck of a night. Could you just tell me one more time what you asked me? I've been brain dead all day.
I that shows you how great of a host you are, because you put the responsibility onto you of my poorly phrased question. You're like, here you go. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you effectively host. What I said is there was some grumpy video content director guy that said he would not feature your show because it had too many liabilities. How did you prove that guy wrong? What did you do, or how did you set out to accomplish getting your show featured after all?
Well, first of all, I actually didn't know that there was a grumpy guy who was even against a mental health show. So no one had actually made that clear to me, but I did talk to a couple people. We're going to shout out Aaron Kirby right now. He was another motivator of mine. And I, told him my idea, and what he said to me was, there's a lot of people who are throwing that idea around right now. So you need to make sure that you are being unique. You need to make sure that you are different than anybody else who's going to put something out there like this. And I was like, okay, so, I really put a lot of work into this every week, and I try to find ways to make it interactive. And, it's some of the stuff can get a little heavy, but we always try to make sure there's some positive aspects to our show because that's the point of it. We're trying to live a happier life. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know that you were going to even watch it.
Me? Who's me?
I'm sorry.
I'm Chris
sorry.
Casper. I don't know who that guy was.
It was Grimp Grasper. Grumpy Grimp Grasper.
I was gonna flip around the first and last, or the first letter of my last name and the first letter of my first name. Like you would be Yabby Gook and I would be still Chris Casper. So that didn't work. No. To build off of what you just said, though, what you did do effective is you leveraged the people around you. Great. And you also expanded the concept of the show of not being an advice column show, but the name of the show itself, which is what?
In It Together with Gabby and Sammy.
In It Together, exactly. And it's a show celebrating that if you are going through something, or if you have conditions or concerns, feelings, thoughts, insecurities, it's not something that you have to go through alone. And through the help of both Gabby and Sammy, there's an educational outlet to learn about some of these things. Have you had a favorite topic so far that you've talked about?
So far, my favorite topic has probably been music therapy. And this was, kind of after I decided to not get so specific to certain types of therapies. But it was really cool. I actually had guests that were two of my friends that I have known for a lot of my life. And her name was Michelle. She was a music therapist. And then Rachel is her best friend and also one of my great friends. And she's going to school to be a mental health counselor. And she also is just this phenomenal musician. And having them both on was just so cool because life just brought us together at this weird point where we hadn't been talking in some time, and we were able to all kind of promote our own causes through one show. It was really, really cool. And a lot of people enjoyed it. There was a lot of emotion in it.
Mm-hmm. Even more interesting than the show itself, I think, is the context of why the show happens. Why would you be so passionate and against the odds, as I phrased that, truly import all of yourself into this project? What was the motivating factor? Why was it so personal to you to want to do a show about this subject?
Well, without getting into too much detail, I've had a very crazy life from just the point of me existing, period, because I grew up in a home with a lot of violence and drugs and stuff. I actually lost my mom when I was 9 to an overdose, and my dad is an addict, and we don't speak anymore. So I've had some obvious traumas from that. And from 16 years old on, I actually didn't have a home. So I kind of just like hopped around. I got 2 jobs. I graduated from high school and managed to go through college, but I still had these traumas and things that were kind of, really affecting me. And right around the time I went on Meet Me, I actually injured myself. And if a lot of you might not know, I'm a licensed physical therapy assistant, and I became licensed right when I got this horrible injury almost 3 years ago now. So my career has been put on hold, and I love to help people. And during this time when I joined Meet Me 2 years ago, I was going through a really hard time, and I actually admitted myself to a mental health facility, which was terrifying, but it was something that I do not regret, and it's changed my life for the better. But for some reason, some people just gravitate toward me, and they like to tell me how they're feeling or ask me for advice. And even in that situation where I was in that facility, there was someone who was going through a really hard time, and I kind of took it upon myself to talk with them and calm them down. And one of the therapists there said, "Hey, you have a gift. Maybe you should consider something in this field." And that's a lot of school. But, Meet Me's given me an awesome outlet to, express gratitude to that experience and to help other people. So, this is the first stepping stone into doing that.
Sure. The show wouldn't be the show, obviously, without the other half of you. It takes 2 to put on what you do. How did you originally get connected with Sammy? And we'll have to have Sammy for her side of the story sometime. But in your perspective, your path, how did you 2 get connected?
So Sammy and I didn't know each other at all on this app before the show became like a thing. I actually decided to do the show, and I gave myself 1 month to find a professional co-host. And I was like, okay, so this is going to keep me motivated. I actually was like searching all through social media. Actually, I have a friend named Thunder. He might be in here. He actually was a friend of hers and a friend of mine. And he realized, he's like, oh my gosh, she's a counselor. I should hook them up. And then Sammy and I just we've been pretty good pals ever since. She's like more than my co-host. She's become one of my really great friends. She's really an awesome person. You guys should favorite her and hang out on her streams.
Wow. Friendship, shows, content, that's a lot of life happening in such a short amount of time. What are your aspirations? What are you doing with all of this? You're building a show, you're building a social media presence. Is it all aiming towards something?
Well, to be honest with you, I never used to be like into social media that much until, Meet Me. And especially this show has really kind of like put that in a hyperdrive. Like now I'm on social media and I'm having to keep up on like Instagram and stuff, which I didn't realize is like a very actually tedious amount of work you have to do on social media. But I mean, I'm going to kind of give you an answer you might not want, but I'm just kind of like rolling with the punches, Chris. Life has kind of been like throwing me into like a pile of craziness, and I never seem to know like what to expect. So, I'm doing what I can to make myself happy and to make others around me happy. That's really all that I have the power to do right now. So I'm,
yeah, it's not about what I do or don't want to hear. That was genuinely a curiosity for me. I think what makes what you do so authentic is that it doesn't have any other reason behind it. It's authentic, it's genuine. Your motivation as to why you do it. You're passionate because you enjoy it. I think if you were to be motivated through something that wasn't genuine, you wouldn't accomplish it because it'd just be too taxing. It'd be too much energy, too much time, too much effort. And so, I think that was a fantastic answer. That was a fantastic answer. Gabby, what do you do in your streams besides your show? I mean, there's a whole nother side to it.
Well, generally, I usually do the date box during every one of my streams at the beginning initially. Did Sammy just say something inappropriate? Oh, it's not very
I will have to check.
We're not gonna have a talk with her.
I did. You know what? Just breaking host mode. I didn't notice that, so I'll have to take a look at that.
Oh my. But yeah, I mean, I do the date box. I do a lot of music requests. Right now, I actually have an injury to my right wrist, but the uke in my name means ukulele, so I do play ukulele and sing sometimes during my streams. That's you know, I don't know. There's a lot of conversations in the date box, as I like to meet new people. So there's a ton of the date box going on in my stream if you ever want to like hang out.
Yeah, the date box is it has that name, date box. How do you feel about that feature? Do you feel like it's a great way to meet new people, potentially actual romantic relationship, or is it more of something that you think that you can gamify?
I think that everyone has a different motive with the date box. And I personally use it because I think it's fun to meet new people. Very, very rarely do I actually use it for its purpose, which is to ask those like pre-made questions from Meet Me. Sometimes I do it if I'm like, you know, if I have a day where I'm like, I'm not sure what to talk about, I'll bring those questions up. Or if somebody's being kind of awkward and quiet, I'm like, let's just bring a question up. But I think there's definitely the ability to find romantic relationships with that, if that's what you're looking for. I feel like with this being a dating app and also gearing up to be like this live streaming platform with like really good content, I think that sometimes people get the wrong idea with the date box as a viewer, you know what I mean? Because I get a lot of like, aren't you here looking for a boyfriend? And I'm actually not here for that. Maybe initially, but that's not why I'm here.
Wow. So I can't use the phrase "the DMs are open today," Gabby? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, the DMs are open if by chance anybody here is an artist and they want their art to be on my show on not this Tuesday but next Tuesday. You can totally DM me about that.
That's a very political answer, Gabby. I accept the answer. I accept the answer. You know, you just said something a little bit saucy that I want. Let's dive into that. You described it as a dating platform with a lot of content. In your eyes or your perspective, if you could wave a wand and say, this is how I'd like my streams to be perceived, or this is how I would like people to take away coming to my stream, how would you wave that wand? What would you want people to take away?
Well, I mean, my streams are pretty simple. Like it's a very chill environment. It's like if we were just like hanging out, like, you know, at a party or at my house. It's just a very friendly environment.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Well, last question. It's always the same question. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to plug, reference, go over before we start the wrap up today?
Well, like I mentioned, if you guys are new here, new to me, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time, I have a show called In It Together. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about it. If you want to know more, make sure you join this week or next week on Tuesday at 9 p.m. to see what we're all about. And not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, we're doing a show on art and how that's beneficial to your mental health. So if anybody is an artist of any kind, sketching, tattooing, sculpting, etc., please, the DMs are open for that. If you guys want to send me your piece, maybe a little splurge of why you created it. And I'm looking for some artists to get in the box and talk a little bit about their experiences and stuff. So DMs are open.
Well, before you go, I'm going to have to take back what I just said about the last question. You said something that excited me earlier that I believe would be beneficial for other people to hear. You said that the app's different now. There's different streamers. There's also a content community. What did you mean by there being a content community?
Well, if anyone hasn't noticed, there are some banners that change every day that are above the trending streamers, and those are shows that people on here have created. There were very few shows when I started. So Chris had his show that we're on right now. Holly has her show, and that was pretty much it at the beginning. So the idea of content wasn't really a thing. Like people just kind of get on here and, you know, like get lit and hang out, which is like fine. I mean, that's like what a lot of us do. But But it's just so cool to come on here and like look forward to something every week that you wouldn't normally get on a dating platform. I mean, I would really say this app has really taken a turn to be a platform for that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm even more excited to join live streams now because of the content that's on here.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, thanks for that last little plug there. So if anyone else is considering trying to put a show together or put together some content, Gabby was, I guess she didn't know, had a very uphill battle and was able to get her show featured through a lot of hard work, preparation, and mindfulness. So Gabby, applaud your work ethic. If you have not favorited Gabby 3.0, make sure that you've done it. When do you go live one more time if people would like to catch you?
I don't have a general time, but usually I'll go live sometimes in the morning around 9 p.m. Eastern time, maybe again around like 5 p.m. Eastern time. I usually jump around throughout the day. So just look out for my blast, and I usually post on Instagram as well if I'm going to go live. So
perfect. Well, that works super well. Gabby, thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it. It's Gabby, everybody.
Chris.
Definitely. The 3.0 version, everybody. 3.0. Hey, if you are just tuning in, my name's Chris Casper. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot. That's what my hair's doing the thing. This is your weekly interview-ish style show. I bring on up-and-coming streamers, people from both on and off of the app who either have talents, interests, things that you should know about if you're interested in this community, or maybe you just stumbled in here. You're like, hey, there's a blue shirt. Let's see if he's wearing a blue shirt. He's not. Oh, I am. This is blue tie. All right. If you're wondering why isn't that talking to anyone in the comments? It is a show, and during these shows, these are pre-curated. These are predetermined and selected interviews and guests. If you have any interest in being on the show, you can find my Instagram at Chris Casper, spelled exactly how it is right here, with the 4 and everything, because I wanted to make it hard on you. Check that out. You can see new show updates. I post a lot of things that deal with the app. I also reference the new shows and things like that come out. So make sure that you check that out. All right, so we just had Gabby on. We're about to invite Melly in just a bit. But before we do that, we have our next guest. And this guy, he's been moving and shaking on the leaderboards. And he's doing his best to have people take notice of his hard work in the live streams. He said, Chris, can I jump on the show? I said, absolutely. Let's do this. So, ladies and gentlemen, our second guest of the evening, one, the only, the man who wears a hat better than most, Mr. Nate. How's it going, sir?
What's up, y'all?
Good to see you. So, Nate, we have a lot to talk about, and I hope you're ready for some trivia later. Are you down for some trivia?
I'm down for some trivia, always.
Some trivia. Okay, it pertains to something that you do, so. I think
I already feel like I know, so let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe. Nate, there's a lot to know about you. Can you give us the quick pitch of what we need to know if we're gonna know Nate?
I mean, pretty much what you see is what you get. I don't sugarcoat things. I mean, I'm very humble and very outgoing to people. You know, I make pretty much my lives as fun and as welcoming as possible. I don't like the negativity. I don't like that drama. Like, if you bring that to the live, like, just keep it out. Like, we want positivity. We want, fun time in my life.
I think we might have some music in the background if you can tune that one down just so it doesn't bounce through. Sweet. So a guy all about having the right attitude and the right presence, the right live environment. I think that's the right foundation to know. You've had a great foundation, speaking of that, to build from, to be a great live streamer. In fact, some of it deals with your time in the service. So I understand that you were in the service.
Yes, I was. I was in for 4 years in the Army. I was an 11 Bravo infantry. So I originally was a M4 rifleman. And then I had switched over to a 240 machine gunner on a turret. So that was kind of like my whole ordeal.
Wow.
I'm actually trying to go back in at the moment too. So it's just a matter of if I'm going to move right now, am I going to go back in, or, am I going to stay here in Illinois and just go back into Illinois, go to the Guard now. So
yeah. What led you to want to make that kind of commitment?
It was pretty much my whole family was military. So my grandpa was, in the military. His dad was actually in the military. My uncle's brothers were all in the military. My dad was. So I was like, you know what? I gotta kind of like feel like it's my like duty to kind of like follow in their footsteps,
Yeah.
so to speak. So I was like, we'll try it out. And I remember when I first got out of high school, signed up. My mom was mad, yo. She was mad. She's like, you can't go. You're the only kid. I said, nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm good. Like I'm good. Like
I'm just gonna sit on a machine gun turret, Mom. What's the worst that could happen?
It's okay. Don't worry about me. Worry about them. Like.
Did you know that going into it that you would be on
No,
that type of equipment?
No, I did not. Like I didn't even know like what I was gonna be. Like I went to my they're like, go to your unit. I went to my unit. They're like, you're an M4 rifleman. I was like, okay. Never shot a gun in my life before until I went to basic training. I mean, basic training, that's when I first shot, but like going to like my unit, like I never had like, that responsibility, and then it eventually turned into becoming like an E4 and starting to lead like my squad, so to speak. So I'm like, it kind of like going into that was like helped you grow up a little bit if you weren't already growing up,
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. I mean, that's the whole reason why I want to go back to is because, my recruiter was like, oh, if you go back in, within 6 months to a year, you're going to become a sergeant. I was like,
well, that was my follow-up is I feel, something dangerous like that on one hand could be a reason to not want to get back into it. But on your hand, you're saying, I feel drawn back in. What's making you want to go back into that?
I think more so the brotherhood. Like I made more friends and more like just people who I like, rode with and all that stuff. Like I have been much closer with them than people I have honestly grown up with my whole life. And to say that is like a lot because, you never would have thought that like, hey, I met this dude, 3 months ago. I'm closer with you than like someone I went to grade school with. Like that had my back and I have yours. Like there's no tomorrow. Like you wouldn't even like blink twice to have my back. Yeah. So that's like a big like respect kind of thing. Like I like that a lot. So I mean, it's just that, and it was just that adrenaline of being a 240 gunner, and I was like, like I miss it. Like there's times I don't miss it, but there's times I do.
What does that mean? To be a 240 gunner? What does it actually mean?
It's a machine gun. So it's like the big old, big old machine gun that you see them carrying and stuff like that they put on the turret of the up armor vehicle, and we lay the rounds down. So we're the one that puts the pressure down. That's pretty much
the guy with his head poking out while everyone else is in armor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not my first choice of where I would want to sign up to be. If you were to go back into the service, is that where you would be positioned in that type of role?
Not necessarily. It really depends on where, like what kind of unit you're in. Like if you're in like a light infantry unit, you're gonna be like pretty much riding around. But if you're in light infantry, you're walking everywhere. But if you're in a heavy infantry unit, that's when you're riding around the vehicles. So my first unit was a light infantry unit, so I was an M4 rifleman. But then when I went to the heavy infantry unit, they were like, oh, you're gonna be a 240 gunner. I was like, oh, what? I was like, oh, okay.
Very cool.
I remember they specifically said word for word. They said either, sorry for my mouth, but like they said, with this 240 gun, they said you either make this your bitch or it's gonna make you its bitch. I was like, got it.
Got it.
To me, I was like, all right.
All right. Well, hey, if you're just tuning in, everyone, this is Nate. We're learning a little bit about how he got started streaming, his time in the service, and how he became a wrestler.
Yep, I also did wrestling too.
So macho man through and through. Okay, wrestling. Does that mean like I've got a steel chair, that kind of wrestling? Or are you talking?
I mean, I did high school wrestling for all 4 years, and then I did some college wrestling, and then when we were actually in high school wrestling, though, my cousin, I found out we didn't even know we were cousins until we were in high school because his dad actually passed away when we were freshmen, and we found out we were somehow related through aunt uncle marriage kind of ordeal.
Mhm.
So he was big into professional wrestling as well. So when I became friends with him with that stuff, we actually used to run our own company stuff, like backyard and on a trampoline, make our own videos, edit it, YouTube, all that stuff.
Like backyard wrestling extravaganza.
He said one day, he's like, dude, he's like, you want to do like, actual pro wrestling with me and go somewhere? I was like, where? And he's like, dude, he's like, there's a place in River Grove, Illinois. He's like, Steve Boz, he used to wrestle for WWF. I was like, what? We went down there, we started wrestling, and then that's where it took off. And then, recently, this past year, 2020 in March, when COVID hit, I was actually supposed to be down in Mineola, Florida.
Wow.
I actually had an offer through an email and text from, and no one believes it, but I have the proof, from The Rock's great uncle, Alpha the Wild Samoan. So I thought that was really cool. But then when COVID hit, I had to cancel my flight. They canceled their show. They closed their school down. So I was like, dang, like that was like my biggest hit, because I was like, I could have pretty much went off big time.
So it went from putting on your best pair of spandex, plugging in the Insane Clown Posse CD, and getting all the steel chairs in the backyard to The Rock's uncle calling you.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, son, I saw your video on YouTube. He's like, I like what you can do. He's like, I think you'd be a good fit here. He's like, I'd like to have you come down sometime to Florida. I was like, yo, bet. I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to be honest with you though, like if any one of you like average Joes were to go like try to go wrestle there, like to train, like you actually, it's like a $5,000 tuition. But
wrestling school.
Yeah, it's a school, but they have he actually said, he's like, oh, I'm not even gonna make you pay the training and stuff like that, because you already have training. He's like, I would just have you like, maybe putting in some type of like small payment. I'm like,
now how prestigious of an acting school is this?
it has its ways of it, because it'll be like,
you let me get away with that? Come on.
Like, I mean, like, you have your days of like where you have to cut promos like behind the mic. You have to have like, you have to know how to land. So I mean, a lot of the stuff, like, people say yes, it's fake, and it is, but like at the same time too, it's not really like that. Yeah.
And what are some of the misconceptions then? Because I may have just unfairly, put a little diss on the wrestling industry.
No, you're good. What? Everybody always says that to me though. But I mean, like, a lot of times, like you could have a match with someone, somebody could clearly like, try to get you, and they sometimes will connect, and sometimes in the match later on, that other person will get a receipt, which is payback. So will actually get hit or chopped, but landing on that mat, it's not soft. It's not, I'll tell you that right now, it is not soft at all. It is literally steel beams all around the ring, followed by a few bars underneath it as well, followed by, I believe it's like 26 or 28 boards of 2x4, followed by not even like a ½ inch of padding, and then a painter's canvas on top. And that's what you're standing on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
you land the wrong way, you don't tuck your neck the right way, you will have a kink in your neck, and I promise you it will hurt for a few days, if not a week.
Well, I'm obviously not the wrestling type. I lose my match with my apple cutter about every day. Halfway through, I have to give up and just like, it's tougher than me. I can't handle this. But not for Nate. The E40. Huh? E40 gunner?
No, M240.
M240. My letter wasn't even correct. We're professional. Nate, okay, before we get to our trivia game, everyone, thanks so much for joining. We're currently talking with Nate. We're going to do some wrestling trivia, spoiler alert, in just a moment. So if you like wrestling.
Get it. I feel like I'm not going to be able to get it for you.
You're going to do this. You're going to get it.
You're going to pull something from like the 80s or the 90s that I'm like completely like.
Absolutely.
Say I knew it.
But that's what it's about. Okay. Absolutely. Before we get to the trivia, you contacted me to come on the show. You even asked, Chris, is this for the top badge? And I said, most definitely not. But that just tells me that you really want that top badge. Why is it so important to you?
I think because back in the summer, like the spring, summer when, like I said, COVID hit. That's when I really got heavily involved on Meet Me, and I actually hit my first milli. I believe it was like March 25th, and then ever since then, it was just coming by each week. And I was like, okay, maybe everyone's like, you need to apply for Top Badge. I even had Top Badgers, telling me you need to apply, just go for it. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll fill it out, but I never had gotten it. And then I even thought that whole time, and I know you know damn well with it too, with Jackie. I was thinking, okay, maybe this is gonna be the thing that pops it all off for good, but no, it didn't. So I mean, now that I guess they raised the requirements, they said, I was like, you know what? I have the requirement for the diamonds. I have it for the favorites. I have it for the amount of streams a month and the hours. I was like, now it's just the views. So you got to average the 500. So I'm starting to kind of now average that. So I filled it out again, like, earlier this week. So I'm like, we'll see, if it happens, it happens. If not, it not. But if it did happen, that'd be pretty sweet.
Awesome. Well, we're all rooting for you. As a plug real quick, if you have not favorited Nate, make sure you do right now. But now it's time, everybody, to plug in for some, this is my music for the trivia. It's trivia time! All right, Nate, in the audience, if you know the answer, go ahead and help Nate out, okay? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions.
All right.
5 questions here.
Okay.
For some wrestling trivia. Wrestlers, are you allowed to reveal your wrestling name, by the way?
Yeah. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's Nathan Novak, actually.
The Novak.
Novak.
What is a note? Like you just don't like cleaning?
No, I don't even know. Like when I told you when I first started wrestling, I was like, they're like, you need a name, blah blah blah. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do for a name. Like, people change their names all the time. I was like, I have no idea. And I remember my one buddy Angel, he's like, how about Nathan Novak? I'm like, why Novak? And he's like, why not? He's like, double N. He's like, you could be an aviator, you could be this, you could be that. I'm like, Angel, what are you doing, dude? I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's like, just go with Novak. He's like, for a while. So literally Novak has stuck with me since I believe it was 2013 or 2014.
You know what? The confidence they had to just make up words, perfect. That's what we need. We need some of that, or not. All right, here we go, everybody. For your wrestling trivia.
Oh boy.
Here we go. First question. The longest running wrestling career was held by who? A, The Rock, B, Hulk Hogan, C, The Undertaker, D, John Cena, or E, my goals in deciding to sleep.
Man, you have all the way up to E.
Yeah, that was a bonus one.
I would have to say The Undertaker.
That would be correct. And did we get? I see John Cena there. Undertaker is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Undertaker is the longest running wrestler. He just retired this year, wrestling career in wrestling history.
He might come back again, FYI.
Maybe. Question number 2. The largest wrestling event ever was held in either A, Japan, B, United States, C, Russia, or D, North Korea. The largest wrestling event ever was held in A, Japan, B, United States, C, Russia, D, North Korea. I don't know. Let's see the audience has to say. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm seeing a mix number here. I would have to say US.
Is that the you or the Novak telling me the US?
I'm saying the US only because I remember at WrestleMania that was like the largest attendance ever.
Okay. Well, it was North Korea. It was North Korea. Yeah. And due to my excruciating research, I don't have a number.
I'm shocked too, guys. I'm shocked too.
it was North Korea. So pull it up if anyone can give me the number. I realized as I was reflecting on these, I should probably have some facts around this.
Yeah, I definitely want to know this number because I remember WrestleMania in like the United States a couple of years ago was like, I don't even know if it was like 700 or 800 or like 1,000. Like it was, no, it was like 100 some thousand. I think it was a lot. That is
a lot of people. Yeah. All right. This one's a 50-50. Okay. This one's a 50-50. True or false? Wrestling is the world's oldest sport.
Yes.
What do we have? We think we're getting some truths, some true. I see a false, a true.
Falses too.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you said false, you are incorrect. The correct answer is true. True. Wrestling is the world's oldest sport. Sport?
Oh,
It's the world's oldest sport. Utensil. All right. If you're just now joining, everyone, we're joined by Nate. He's our second guest of the evening. Welcome to Suited Up. We are currently doing some wrestling trivia. He is currently 2 for 3. Here we go. Fourth question. The oldest WWE champion in the brand's history was how old? 32 years old, 54 years old, 70 years old, or 99 years old? The oldest WWE champion.
Whoever said 99 that I just seen fly by, that's funny.
They pinned him down with the walker. They're like, ah! And they got
That's really 70.
70. Incorrect,
What?
everyone.
Wow.
The oldest WWE champion in the brand's history is the man himself, Vince McMahon, at the age of 54. He was the oldest WWE. Now, is that cheating? He owns the whole thing.
I'm shocked because I know Goldberg just recently won too, and Goldberg's up there with an age.
Then my facts aren't correct.
I
But according to the website, the WWE website that I pulled it from, this is what they said. It was WWE WrestleMania history. Now, one of the websites, I'll give you a fun fact. Here's a bonus question. I had written down was, how much does a WWE camera cost to film? And the answer was 80,000. But that fact was from 2011, and I didn't feel confident giving you a decades-old trivia question.
That's still a lot of money.
Yeah. So, fun fact: back in 2011, that's what it cost, everyone. All right, last question for Nate and all of you for your wrestling history. All right, this is my favorite question.
Oh boy.
Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yep.
Was fired from the WWE for not reporting he had A, pet lion, B, a doctor's appointment, C, a wedding, or D, hepatitis C.
Oh man.
Cowboy Bob Orton was fired from the WWE from having either a pet lion, a doctor's appointment, the wedding, or hepatitis C.
What do y'all think?
What do you think?
Phoning in a friend over here. What do y'all think?
This was way enough time to Google it.
Is
If
this-
you have not Googled it,
All right, you know what? We'll say D.
D, because he had the hep C. That is correct. Cowboy Bob Orton was fired from the Vince McMahon is 75, so I called BS on the question. You know what, Kenny? That's what.
Kenny, look up how old Goldberg is then, really quick, and just post it in the comment. I want to know.
Cowboy Bob Orton was fired from the WWE for having hep C, according to WrestleManiaFacts.com.
Damn.
All right, that was the trivia. So you could have
That's a
been
good trivia, though.
Yeah,
You sit up between new, old, some random stuff. I like that.
we tried. I made up all of the incorrect answers. I was proud that I could think of 3 wrestlers.
I thought you made up the incorrect answer for the very first one too when you said E.
Yeah, well, I wrestle with falling asleep sometimes. It's hard out here, Nate.
I feel you. I feel you. There's some of these nights of just sleeping. He just turned 54. See, I was right.
Yeah. All
Right.
right. Well, then the answer stays. Vince McMahon, 54 years old, was the oldest WWE champion. So,
Wow.
Nate, one time, if people would like to watch you, thanks again for playing, by the way, but if people would like to watch you, come support you on your top streamer journey, when can they find you?
So I do work nights, guys, now. I was originally, when I first on here, I was streaming like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night till 4 in the morning. But, I work now overnight. So I'm normally on anywhere between 6 a.m. Central Time. Anytime like around then is when I'm on in the morning. And then I'll stream for pretty much, majority of like the early morning, and then I'll maybe go live again like in the afternoon sometime. But for the most part, 6 a.m. Central Time. That's normally when I'm on.
Well, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Nate, for jumping on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Tons of fun. Our third guest of the evening, everyone, Mr. Nate, the Novak Swiffer Sweeper wrestler. Nate. There we go. Yeah. Welcome to Suited Up, everyone. My name's Chris Casper. I'm your host. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, I'm sorry, because you probably have not seen many good things in your life. Netflix subscription is not expensive. All right. What do we have on the show? Today, well, we've had Gabby so far, who talked to us a little bit about her experience with mental health and why she got into creating her own show. Our second guest, Nate, who we just had on, we talked about wrestling, his time in the service, and all the great things that he's done. But our third guest tonight, everyone, is about to rise from the ashes of the comment section. Yep. Our third guest tonight, everyone, she's wonderful. Her name's Melly, but tonight she's Phoenix. That one. She Phoenix. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Yeah. Good to see you.
That was a great intro, by the way. Loved it.
Rise from the ashes of the comment section.
Yes. That was fantastic.
It's because they're on fire. The comments are on fire. It's like
Yes.
burning the house down. So
Awesome.
cool. Well, it's great to meet you officially. For the people who are just now also meeting you, will you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. So my name is Mel, or Melly, if you want to call me that. That used to be actually my name on the app. Very interesting. I did change it to She Phoenix for a good reason. There's a long story behind it, but it was kind of an evolution, similar to Gabby. I kind of went through a lot of things when I started first using the app. So kind of went through all that, and a phoenix rises from ashes, right? And went through some trials and whatnot. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change my name, and it's gonna be Phoenix, and it's gonna be a She Phoenix. So here I am.
Can you give us, I know you said it's long, but what was the motivation out of calling yourself She Phoenix?
So this is a really interesting topic to talk about, and I don't talk about it too much on my stream just yet, because we have different topics and things. But so not this past year, but there was a year where I went through a bout of depression it was a good year. And I think like at the time I didn't have too many resources available to me just because I didn't know what it was, right? So there are times where like you're kind of, oh, well, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I don't really want to do anything. I'm just not motivated. And so for the longest time, like it just kind of went undetected. I didn't know that's what it was. And so then, so I have a cousin who is a licensed professional counselor, and she was like, hey, what's going on? And I started talking to her, and she's like, you might want to maybe just kind of start reading maybe some self-help books, going to see a therapist, all these things, because that sounds like depression to me. And I was like, holy cow, I didn't even think of that, and that's because like we're so busy in our daily lives. Like I'm doing stuff all day long. I'm, working, I'm handling book stuff, movie stuff, and I don't pay attention to it. But even people as busy as that, you never know. And they could be depressed. They could be, dealing with things on their own.
Yeah.
So.
Well, just to reference that depression part, you said it almost snuck up on you. Do you feel that it may have been because it's stigmatized, or you thought, no, it can't affect me? What do you feel was in play that it was something that could, quote unquote, just sneak up in a way?
That's a really great question. Knowing me, I was like, no, I'm just tired. I'm just working too much, like that. Depression would never hit me. But then when I started talking to a therapist and kind of going through all these things that I was thinking about, I was like, oh crap, yeah, exactly, like textbook definition. That's what that is. And so it was really nice. I know it's sometimes taboo, right, to talk about, oh, I see a therapist, or, oh, I went through this or whatnot, but everyone has their trials, everyone has their tribulations, and you kind of go through it. And I think what helped me a lot was also this app, because for me, it's like, holy cow, there's almost 8 billion people in this world, and I've only seen maybe like a minute number, so it's really cool to get on here, to meet new people, to just talk and have fun and just see what everyone's up to in the world, especially during COVID, So like I was super careful when COVID happened. I was like, you know what? I know the signs. I know what it feels like to be depressed, all those things. So like at the beginning of the year of last year, I was like, don't fall into that. Do something for yourself, get outside, whatever. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Within the bounds of what you're comfortable with saying, was there a particular thing that set that off, do you feel? Was it just life in general that there was a lot happening that started to put you towards that, potentially hereditary? What,
Yeah. That's a good question. So I will be honest. I work a lot with a lot of different things, and I try to keep my mind busy. By default, though, I slowly pushed away a lot of my friends, people that I hung out with, people that I talked to, people, and in the sense that I just didn't have that human connection because I was like robot mode. And so, we're friends and I can text them and whatnot, but I just wasn't paying attention to that social side of things. And so I think that is where that kind of started festering, right? Because I wasn't, mentally taking breaks, talking to other people and my friends and family. I was just in work mode. And I think, again, like you get so busy, you don't pay attention to like, hey, you need some social interaction. You need to do things with pets, people, friends, or, friends, family, go have some fun. And so that was, what did it for me.
I like that you reference pets first out of all. Like in the list of priorities,
Doggies.
if you are sad,
Exactly.
you need a dog. That's the first thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then get a friend or whatever.
Whatever your preference is, dog, cat, hamster.
Perfect.
Good.
I love it. Okay, well, there's a lot of unique things about you. Fantastic work ethic. I referenced earlier when I was teasing that you're going to be on, that you accomplished something that I had only dreamed of achieving in my life.
Yeah, curious.
Yeah, you're an author. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am a published author.
You're just
yes.
nonchalantly, Yeah, I wrote a whole book. I mean, I get to my Word document and I type the blah diddy blah, and I stare at it and I go, that's not gonna cut it. And then we get a good solid the, and then we're good.
Yeah.
I took.
You spell it right though, right?
I did. I still right?
No, I was gonna say as long as you spell it right.
You would be surprised. Or probably not. I did a quick Google search of your book, and is this a saucy book?
It is. So I have a copy right here. If y'all want to search it, it is published on Amazon. It's called Pet.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a half-naked man on the front. It's a stock image, so don't worry. But it's Petal, subtitle Her Survival, His Desire. It is there's a long story to it, but we're just going to say it's a romance novel. Yeah. And if you read one of the reviews on there, there's this lady, which I agree, that's how I've been talking about the book. It's that she reviews my book as a Harry Potter / 50 Shades of Grey. So I would say that's the closest. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Harry, may I see your wand? Like that kind of deal? Okay. Hey.
Yep. So rated R in terms of the book. The movie maybe not.
The movie? Hold on.
Yes, we are going to work on a movie.
So
we are going to work.
Was that the vision? You wrote this book and you said, let me sauce it up and get it on the silver. Is it silver screen? Is that the right term? The big screen.
The big screen.
To get it on a viewing thing.
Actually, you'd be surprised. No. So I, I don't know, 5 years ago was avidly writing poetry. And so I was on, what's that? It's an app where you can upload stories and write your own poetry and whatever. And so a lot of my writing got really good reviews. And one of them was actually ranked, it received a online award, for being closest to Edgar Allan Poe writing. So I was like, cool, okay. So I started writing a book, and it was really supposed to be a high school story, first love, all this kind of stuff. But then I started seeing 365 Days come out, and I was thinking about Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, and I was like, wait a second, I could totally put a twist on this. That book actually took me like a year to write, because I kept getting writer's block, and I was like, I wasn't like completely in it because I didn't like the story, but then like part of me was like, I want to add some kind of magic to this, or magic element. So when I did that, and I truly made it fiction, I was like, I got this, we're good. So yeah, when started writing it, I didn't think that it would kind of get as far as it did, but it's one of those things where you just kind of go like roll with the punches, like Abby said. Like you're writing the book, then you're like, well, what's the next step? Well, I guess I could get an editor. Okay, what's the next step? Well, I guess I'll publish it because it's just sitting there. And so that's what I did. And after that, kind of I marketed, I did all these things for it, and I got pretty good sales. So it was awesome to see. I'm like, it's on Amazon and people are buying it and reviewing it.
Wow,
So.
I can't commit to even cooking myself dinner. How did you possibly sit down and commit to writing? Was it just you knew you had a great idea?
Idea, yes, but love-hate relationship. Like I almost believe every writer will tell you this, because there were times where you would sit and you're like, I have to get two chapters written. But you're like, I don't want to because I want to watch Netflix. Oh, cool. This show is on. I'm going to watch this. Or I just started watching Vampire Diaries. Yes, I'm late to the game. I know. But I was like, I just want to watch that. I don't want to write. So it was a struggle on some days. But other days, I would crank out like 4 chapters or 5 chapters, So yeah, it takes a lot of dedication, I would say. Like I give props to writers. Like if you do that for a full-time job, holy cow.
Who would you say your book is targeting? If you had to imagine your perfect reader, what would that person be, or who would that person be?
So that is actually, I actually have a 100% answer for you, because when I was marketing the book, so I work in technology, so I've got a lot of knowledge on just advertising, marketing, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me try. So it's not so much my perfect reader, but who I want to market to, right? But I was like, okay, and I was marketing to like ages 18 to 25 and 20, like all the buckets. Well, my book sales were all in the 40 and up female range.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, like that's really awesome. And so then I started like kind of formulating marketing material and campaigns and stuff towards that demographic, and my sales just started like going up. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't imagine writing this book for that age group. It totally worked out, because I thought it was like between maybe, I don't know, 20 to 30, something like that. But totally different.
Well, you paid attention to who was being receptive, and bam, you had a major success. So there you go.
Yeah.
I have one last question about this book, because I've imagined this myself if I were to ever try and write a book like that. But you mentioned it's somewhat adult content, okay? When you were writing the adult content parts, what is the process of? Do you ever go, ooh, no, too much, or oh, I need more? What is that mental battle when you're going, and then he did what? Like, what is?
Let me tell you, it's an interesting process writing that type of book. It is very technical. So, like, one of the reasons, by the way, GTS is in my name, because we made a joke that I Google everything. And that's because I started Googling everything, because I needed to learn about how to write my book. So GTS stands for Google That, SHIT. So I had to Google everything, because I like the what's in it. I was like, how does this actually play out, or how should it play out, or what do people need to be doing and talking about? And so like I was Googling it, I was referencing 50 Shades, 365 Days, all these other movies that I had never seen before. And then my editor, like I actually found an editor that was fluent in this type of writing, and it was so funny, because she would be like, I think you're pulling back too much in this scene, you need more. And I was like, that's a lot, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I'm editing this part out, go write again. I was like, okay. So at times it was really awkward, but it's so technical. Like those sections in the book were the ones that I revisited the most, because it had to have flow, it had to have just literacy, all these things. And so it was difficult at first, but then you kind of get the hang of it. You're like, okay, I know what the scene prior and the scene after need to, like what they need to be. So it was good.
If you're just tuning in, we are joined by author and all-around badass Miss She Phoenix on the app. One more time, we hold up your book for everyone in case they missed it.
Yes.
It's named Petal. And there you go. See, what
Petal.
40-year-old woman wouldn't want a dark, silhouetted, spicy, gentle guy? Right? There you go. Look at that. Fantastic. So in addition to being a writer and again, all the working in the tech industry, you also work in fashion and modeling.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
How? Just give us the lowdown. How'd you get involved with that?
So, oh my gosh. So this goes way back to like 8-year-old Mel, maybe 6-year-old, I don't know. But so I used to use my parents' video camera, like that big one, you know, that had the big boom mic or whatever and a huge lens. And I would, when I was young, like film commercials and shows. So I would like have my bedroom as a background, and I was in dance and drama all my life. When I got to college, my parents were like,
Yeah.
if we're paying for it, you're not doing that. And I was like, why? And they're like, you're gonna do something, yeah, or you're gonna do something that makes you money. I was like, okay, fine. So I got into business, but you know, so it's always been really a goal. I don't say dreams, I say goals. It's always been a goal of mine to achieve in terms of, you know, just being able to freely express myself through emotion and voice. And so out of college, like straight out of there, I got into just my local like theater. I looked at online sites for casting calls, all this kind of stuff. Because when you're new, you have to start from the ground up. Nobody knows you. They don't know what you're all about, what your range is, all that. So I would do, you know, theater. I would do a lot of work that was unpaid, a lot, just to get like a demo reel, you know, and get myself out there. So I did that, and then finally, you know, a few years later, I signed up with an agent. And so I've just been with multiple agents over the years, but you know, you pay your dues for sure, trying to go that route. So it's been a journey.
Well, here we are now. You are a streamer. You are on the platform. When can people catch you if they're interested in learning a little more about you?
Yeah, so I go live, typically now I go live in the mornings, so between like 7 and 7:30 Central for about maybe an hour or two, and then I'll stream once a week, and then my stream usually starts around like 8:30, 9 p.m.
Okay, well, there's that. You have so many things going on. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything that you'd like to plug. So are there any projects, anything that you're excited about that you'd like to mention?
So we already mentioned, don't forget to buy the book. I am writing a second one, so that'll be really neat, second and third. But yeah, just, you know, come join my streams. We talk about a lot of things. I used to have a schedule up, but there's so many organic conversations. But you know, we talk about food, we talk about movies, we talk about just film, book writing, business, all that kind of stuff. It just kind of ranges, and we go where the conversation goes.
Sure.
So excited and join the stream.
Well, very cool. Before you go, with everything you've done in the entertainment industry and with media, how has live streaming been for you? Has it been a new experience? Do you feel it could be, you know, a good time sink, a way to make new friends? What is your perception of all of this?
So yes, I had just heard about streaming last year. So it was relatively new to me. Because I literally got on and I was like, oh, people watch you and people are joining, and some people don't say anything and some do, but I don't know you, so how do I start conversation? And then it finally got to the point where I was like, just be yourself, just talk about whatever you feel that my motivation was, if each one teach one. So if I can teach you something and you teach me something, then stream accomplished, you know? So that's kind of where it went. And so I started talking about whatever everyone wanted to learn about and what I could learn about. But I think you know, I like the date box, the so-called date box, because like I said, there's so many people, and I want to get to learn about everyone and talk to different people. Like there's so much more outside of your little bubble, like, you know, my little bubble, that I just want to get to learn about everybody else. So streaming has been amazing. Everybody has been welcoming. I've met a lot of people through the app, also offline, in a very safe and good way, I guess you could say. And like, it's been great. I think it's opened a lot of doors to just different projects that I'm working on. So
well, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining the show. If you have not, make sure that you drop her a favorite, everyone. Click that star, drop it in. Tell her about the book. Let her know. Let her know what time you had to close it when you couldn't read, around your family, because that could happen. That could happen. Who knows? So
yeah.
much love. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. Hey, everyone. That is basically the show. Welcome to Suit It Up. We had on the show today Gabby, Nate, and Melly. Before we go, I didn't know how I was gonna slip this in earlier, but I'm not good at doing laundry at all, like ever. And when I put on my coat today, I felt something in the pocket. I'm like, well, what is this in my pocket? I still don't know what it is in my pocket, and I thought it'd be fun to do a reveal on the show. I should have mentioned it at the beginning as a teaser, and I had totally planned to do that so that people would stay just to maybe find out what it would be. Now I can tell you it's a square shape, and it's definitely not a business card. And I have not washed this jacket probably in ever. So it's been a long time since I washed it. And so let's go ahead and find out what it is. It's a card. I'm trying to think before I open this on stream who possibly may have given me this card. Or where I would have worn this jacket that I would have a card in its pocket. All right, let's find out. This does not help me at all. Does it say anything? Okay, I know what this is from now. It's a Target gift card, everybody. Hey, I just got money. That's so cool. I just got a Target gift card. I'll read the card for you, everybody. I'll read the card. Here's what it was from. Apparently, the last time I wore this coat was a wedding. I DJ'd a wedding. Chris, thank you so much for DJing our wedding. We cannot express our gratitude enough. It means the world to us to have you here for our special day. And they give me a Target gift card? Did I get paid to do a wedding and a Target gift card? I do appreciate it. I appreciate the gesture. I just realized I did a pro bono gig for a friend, but they paid me in a Target gift card. Hey, that's the show. That's the show, everybody. Welcome to Suit It Up. If you just tuned in, it's too late. You missed it, but you may have done yourself a favor. A special shout out to Gabby, to Nate, and to Melly. Make sure that you tune into Nick's Style and you tune into Oregon Star Girl, who are up right now doing their show. So make sure that you check it out. Nick Style's doing 70s Night. Oregon Star Girl is talking about getting back in the dating scene. There's a lot of great shows. If you ever have any questions about actually, don't ask me questions. I'm not good at answers. I don't even know if I got the trivia tonight correct. Why do you trust me? Don't trust me. All right, everyone, my name's Chris. I look forward to seeing you again. One more time on Instagram. It's spelled exactly how you see here, at Chris Casper, with the 4 and everything. And I will see you on Friday for the rundown for all of the new Top Badge announcements, contest results, more miserable, more miserable, more Maserati, Les Miserables. Has a potential show come. See, Les Mis, I only plugged Nick in Oregon because they're immediately on. But there's also Blair Woods on tonight officially, and then also you have more, the Miserables talking about his pet show also at 11. So if you like more, you can go and click that. So more, when we get that bannered up, it actually is official. Should we just announce it? More, do you want to request a box? This is after hours. This is after hours. I'm breaking my own rule. I'll break my own rule. More, request a box. If you're here, let's do this. You want to do it? Let's do it. Or not. I'm bad at making choices. Who gave me my job? I probably shouldn't have it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, reporting to the box.
How we doing?
This is a handsome guy. Before you tell us about your show, your episode on Jilly Baby's entanglements yesterday, holy smokes.
It was, yeah, that was an entanglement, right?
If you missed that story on Jilly Baby's entanglements yesterday, you missed out. I'm not even saying that as hype. That is true gasoline. That is 100% gas.
For sure.
All right, more.
It was very cathartic going through that whole experience again.
Yeah. All right, more. What are we announcing right now that you didn't know you were about to announce?
Well, we have a new show coming up. It's in less than an hour at 11 p.m. Eastern called Pet Profiles, where it's we have pet owners coming on, sharing their pets, why they love them so much. We learn more about them. We interview, maybe learn some new stuff about these pets. But really, guys, it's just an excuse for us to look at cute, cuddly creatures for an hour. Let's be real. And who doesn't like that? If you're falling asleep on the East Coast and you want to look at some cuddly creatures before you fall asleep, tune into the show. It's a lot of fun. It's really laid back, and you're going to enjoy it.
There's a whole lot more, too, because you have some interesting segments. Do you want to let us know something about something?
We've got Pets in the News, which is one of my favorite segments, where, you know, guys, there's a lot of negativity going on if you ever turn on the internet or, you know, the TV. So learning about, you know, cute pets in the news that got rescued or did something cool, that's fun. We've got a Pet of the Week, which you can actually vote on my stream or on my Instagram, that is up for adoption every week. A lot of cool stuff about pets. So if you like animals, you're just going to love this show.
There's so much pet content.
So much pet
All right. Well, check him out. He's on tonight, that 11 o'clock spot. East Coast. Yes, sir. Congratulations to Moore on earning his own official show. You should see a banner for that in the next couple weeks. As always, everybody, my name's Chris Gasper. Thank you so much for tuning in the show. I'll see you Friday for the rundown for all of your new app updates and announcements. Until then, stay, you should definitely